Yolo, and welcome to part 2 of the Masculinity Collaboration miniseries. Just like with part 1, I sent 15 questions on masculinity over to a remarkable YouTuber. He took the time to record his responses and send them back, so we'll go through what he had to say and he'll introduce himself here in a second. Then after that, I'll go ahead and answer the second half of the list. I answered the first half of the list myself in the first video. Our special guest today is none other than the incredible Krish. Link in the description below. That way you guys can go check him out and see what he has been making, because he's been making some absolute bangers recently that you're not going to want to miss. But without any further ado, because I don't, let's let Krish get into it.
So my name's Krish, I'm 23 years old and I'm from London. So the first question is, what does masculinity mean to you personally, and has your opinion changed as you've grown? My opinion hasn't changed as I've grown. Being masculine in my area was always about the rappers, the cool cars, the jewelry, the confidence, being tall, being good looking, having a nice body frame, being athletic. If he was into football, if he was into basketball, that's what masculinity really meant to me as a man growing up in the UK. Was all about your confidence, your swag, your style, how you move, how you talk. Are you someone who has like an aura? Like, are you someone that's confident? Who were some of your biggest role models growing up, and how did they shape your idea of masculinity? So I'd say UK rappers, a lot of UK rappers, also James Bond as well. That's why my name's 007 on YouTube. But yeah, like just generally role models like that, like UK role models, European role models of men who were dominant, guys who got the money, guys who had the nice cars, the nice jewelry, or the women. James Bond always had nice suits on, he always looked clean. That's what was role models for me personally. What are some examples of masculinity from media that come to mind? Books, movies, TV shows? Could you name any characters specifically, and what makes them masculine? So Tommy from a show called Power. There's a show called Power and there's a character called Tommy, and he was like a cool white dude and he was very confident and he was always, entering the room. He had like a presence about him when he enters the room. Also Thomas Shelby from Peaky Blinders, that's a UK show as well. Actually, it's funny enough, I actually met him in real life, but yeah, he's a cool dude. Like I said, yeah, generally those dudes are like cool characters, like they're masculine guys. Tommy Shelby and Tommy Egan from Power and Peaky Blinders. How do you think our fatherhood, or the lack of it, influences men's sense of masculinity? Well, I'm not too sure in this question, because my dad got locked up when I was a child. He'd been in prison since I was like 5 months old. So I'd say, like, I don't really think you need a father to be masculine. I think that's just about your dominance, your control. Can you fight? Can you defend yourself? Can you protect your family? Do you know how to shoot? Do you know how to, throw a punch? Like, can you defend yourself in a situation? If you can do that, then I'm pretty sure that's masculine. Like, if you can defend yourself against a threat, especially if you grow up in an area that's kind of broke or poor, if you can defend yourself, I think that's masculine. So I'd say that like a lack of fatherhood doesn't really affect you too much, but I think if you have a father figure who's dominant, then that can determine you in a certain way. If you have a father figure who's a bit more feminine and laid back, that can also change your opinion. So I think it depends on what type of father you have. Do you think there's a difference between being a man and being masculine? Of course there's a difference. So being a man is your biological, are you a man? Like, was you born a man, like biologically? But being masculine just depends on where you are. So like, for example, if you've got a girl who's masculine, she likes to go to the gym, she likes to play video games, she likes to smoke, she likes to ride motorbikes, she could come across as a masculine woman, but she's still a woman. You know what I mean? Like, you can be a feminine man, you can be a masculine woman. Like, that just depends on what you think masculine is to you. So for example, if you're in the countryside and you've got a woman who likes to ride horses and smoke cigarettes and ride motorbikes, then she can come across more masculine. It doesn't really matter. You can be masculine as a man or woman, but being a man is like what you're born as. How do you think social media has shaped men's perception of what it is to be masculine today? Right, so this is the sixth question. How do I feel like masculinity has been shaped by social media? Well, social media is a tool that can put people into a certain light. Depending on where you live, your masculinity perception will be different. For example, someone who lives in like Korea in Asia, they would see someone like BTS who's got a baby face and can sing and dance as more masculine. But someone who lives in the countryside might see a dude who's cutting down a tree with a big muscles and a huge beard. That might be more masculine. So depending on where you live and what social media platform you're talking about, you're going to see different things from TikTok, which is a younger audience, YouTube, which is a bit more mature audience, Facebook, which is an even older audience. So there's different things of what makes a man masculine on social media, depending on the country, the age, the background, the culture. Different things could come across as masculine to different people. For example, if you're black and you like, rap music, someone with dreads and a big chain could be more masculine. If you're someone who's more in the countryside, someone with a cowboy hat smoking a cigarette. If you're someone who's Latino, someone who could dance and has a bit of moves to their body could be seen as more masculine, depending on where you come from. Toxic masculinity is thrown around often in online spaces. What do you mean that? How does it often do you see the term being used? Right, so I see the term being used pretty often, like toxic masculinity this, or if a guy does this, he's toxic. But at the end of the day, that could mean different things to different people depending on how you see it. Like for example, on the internet, people put things into like a category or a group because they want to, like for example, let's say you say a joke to somebody, they could say that's racist, or let's say you say something and they could say, oh, that's offensive. It just depends on how you're talking about it. For example, to me, if you go to the gym every single day, that's not toxic. But someone could say, oh, he's toxic, he goes to the gym every day because he's full of himself. It just depends. Like on the internet, sometimes you got to get off the internet. Like sometimes you got to go into the real world. Like on the internet, it's not real. Like people can make a persona for views and for likes and for comments and for shares because they want publicity. So that's the thing when it comes to toxic masculinity. It really depends on what you think is toxic to you, because everyone's definition of what can be toxic is different. Same like everyone's definition of what spicy food is can be different. Different levels of spice, different levels of toxicity. It just depends on your perception of it. Like for me, I don't think there's anything wrong with being masculine. I don't think that's toxic. Same with being feminine. I don't think it's toxic. I think it's just a word that's being used on the internet to put a certain perception or guide people into a certain way. Like social media can really influence how you see the world. What's a big misconception women or society in general makes about masculinity? Right, a misconception people make is that masculinity is one thing. Like I said earlier, depending on where you live in the world, if you live in Asia, you live in Africa, you live in Europe, you live in America, you live in South America, your perception of what you think is masculine is different. Like I said, if you're into Bollywood and if you're Indian culture, being masculine is someone who can sing and dance and cook good food. If you're in America, someone who's more confident businessman in a suit is seen as more masculine. If you're in Africa, somebody who's actually more tribal is seen as masculine. If you're in Europe, someone who can present themselves in a specific way and speak on a higher vocabulary of speech is seen as more masculine. So it depends really on where you are in the world. That's the misconception that people make, is that this is masculine and this isn't masculine. Everyone's opinion is different. Everyone's choice in men that they go for is different. Women they go for is different. Everybody in life goes for different things and finds different things attractive. Some people could find it masculine if you have tattoos. Some people can find it masculine if you have a beard. It's just different opinion. Number 10, what's something you used to think of as manly, but now you see differently? So I'd say going to war. Like my grandmother always told me that men back in the day, World War II, used to go to war. And that's what made them manly. Guys used to go to war, they used to come home. They couldn't talk about any of their PTSD or their trauma from war. And that made them manly. But nowadays, people don't want to fight. Like, why do I want to fight for some old dudes in a boardroom? You know what I mean? Like, these guys aren't even going on the battlefield themselves. Like, I don't want to fight for some old politicians that are trying to control my life. Like, a lot of people now don't want to go fight in a war because it's like, what's the point of harming other people who are also got a government? It's a war set up by old people who are bitter to get the young and strong to fight each other. And that's kind of something that's like not really seen as manly anymore. But back in the day, World War One, World War Two, you had to go fight. People wanted to go. People used to lie about their age to go fight in the war. You know what I'm trying to say? What's one lesson about being a man you wish you'd learned earlier in life? Well, being a man, you don't have to be good at football. That's what I would say, because, in the UK, it's always a thing of football culture is big. The Premier League is the biggest league in football, apart from the World Cup, obviously. But my point is, like, being a man, you have to be good at football. You don't have to be good at sports to be a man. Like, I think there's a big pressure on being good at sports, being good at soccer or the NFL or whatever. Like, there's a thing of you need to be good in sports. You need to be good to be a man. But, like, you don't have to be that. You could be good at chess. You could be good at reading. You could be good at writing. You could be good at giving haircuts. You could be good at plumbing or electrician, or you could be good at something else. Doesn't mean that you have to be good at sports. I say that being a man doesn't mean you need to be good at sports. If you are good at sports, that's cool, but you don't need to be good at sports. Number 12. What's one piece of advice you'd give to young men trying to figure it out? Well, I'd say figuring it out, you have to learn from your mistakes. Everyone in life's going to make mistakes. Everything in life will come to an end. It's kind of nihilism, but everything in life will come to an end. So you just got to enjoy it, like enjoy the food, enjoy the relationships, enjoy the people, enjoy school. Like I liked school. I thought school was fun, me personally, but a lot of people didn't like school. But I liked school because I had friends and, I had attention from girls and whatever. So I enjoyed school. But I'd say if you don't enjoy school, try and figure it out. Like genuinely figure it out. Like, what's your circle? What's your niche? What do you like? Like, for example, if you're watching this channel right now, then you like gaming videos. That's cool. Why don't you try to start your own channel? You know, like, look at actually trying to figure out what you enjoy. If you enjoy art, go for that. If you enjoy graffiti, go for that. If you enjoy sports, if you enjoy jet skiing, if you enjoy whatever you enjoy doing, if you enjoy traveling, try save your money and go do that. Like, figure it out what you want to do in your life, and don't go into a circle of just kind of copy your friends. Like, don't just copy your friends. Like, if you like what your friends are doing, cool, but if your friends don't want to go on that trip and you do, go for it. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, otherwise you'll waste so much time. Like, I've done that with some of my friends. Like, I waited for months before I planned one of my holidays because I kept asking my friends to go and they didn't want to go. And when I went, I just went by myself and it was a great time. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I met so many cool people there. That's my point. Like, try and actually go live your life and figure out yourself of what you want. Do you think men today struggle with identity more than past generations? And if so, why? I don't think men struggle more with identity. I think there's just more groups of different kinds of people. Now we're living in a world with over 9 billion people. 9 billion people. That's kind of mad when you think about it. So past generations had less people. We've got so many people now that are struggling with different kinds of issues, depending on if they want to become successful with money, successful with their family, successful in relationship, following their passion, following their hobby, or what they actually want to do in life. And there's so many options and there's so many people, there's so many ways to network, which I think is sometimes overwhelming for some people because they don't know what category to go into. They don't know if they want to focus on just their finance or focus on with their family, focus on, you know, religion and God and getting married. They don't know what they want to do. And I think that that's the thing with the world, is that you got all these different kinds of people. You've got some people on the internet and saying you need to have a wife and kids and get married. Some people are saying you need to have a yacht and 10 supercars. And some people are saying you need to go to the gym every day and have the best body. So people are getting into these minds of they don't know if they want to focus on getting their money, focus on their body, or focus on their relationship. And I think that's why people struggle with today. What do you think the masculinity will look like for the next generation of men? So for the next generation of men, I think more masculinity will lean towards more social media, like the TikTok generation, you know, the streaming, the iShow speed, you know, these kind of guys who do the online streaming thing, you know, the people who sit there in real life, they go out and about and do videos, like more content creators. Like, it's not more about the old celebrities. Like, for me as a kid, it was celebrities like James Bond and celebrities in movies, but now we're moving more to streamers and online content creators. There's people on TikTok who are more known than some of these actors, you know, I'm trying to say, that are in big movie roles. People are spending more time looking at Twitch, TikTok, you know, Rumble, all of these newer platforms. So I'd say that the new masculinity will be these kind of guys, the guys who are more bubbly, outspoken, the guys who are more, you know, extrovert, the guys who are there in front of the camera making people laugh, you know, the Mr. Beast kind of thing. Like, I think that's the effect of the new masculinity, is that kind of thing of these dudes with the money and this the new money wave, the guys who are buying all this stuff and doing these big giveaways, and this kind of thing is what the new masculinity thing is. That's what's the new trend. Anyways, Alex, I really appreciate being on your channel. If you guys could subscribe to my channel as well, Krish44. I really hope this collab was helpful for everyone. It's always good to get a different perspective of life and what that you think is different. You know, my opinion, your opinion, everybody's opinion. If you guys could put in the comments what you guys think, we could all engage together. It'd be really cool.
Appreciate you doing the collab, man. Love having you here. Look forward to doing more collaborations in the future. I guess it's time for me to answer a few more of these questions. Starting with number 8. What's the biggest misconception women or society in general have about masculinity? Now, I would believe that it is the misconception that masculinity is oppressive or patriarchy is restrictive. Now, historically, women and minorities did not have the same kind of rights that straight white landowners did. But that was decades ago. Now it's not that way anymore. However, the stigmatisms of the past are still connected to masculinity, because masculinity is seen as the patriarchy, which used to oppress anyone who was different. Number 9. What's one stereotype about masculinity that you think needs to die off? And I would totally love to steal what Josh had said in part 1, but I think I'm going to actually go with the stereotype that men are unfeeling robots. Now, I love the stoicism mindset, and I read a lot of stoic works, but there's a difference between stoicism and just being unfeeling. And I think that line has been blurred in most people's minds, and they don't think people, specifically men, actually care or feel, so that they can treat them as a second-class citizen almost. Men do care, but they can't care and show as much, because then they're going to be, ostracized for it. So it's a negative catch-22. Number 10. What's something that you used to think made someone manly, but now you see differently? I would have to say fighting and being aggressive. I used to think that was manly, if you were able to beat somebody else up and prove your point. Now I think completely the opposite. I think it takes more character not to lash out at someone who's provoking you or even trying to start a fight with you. It takes a higher level of discipline and self-restraint to not go and punch that guy who cut you off in traffic, which is a personal thing for me because I get cut off in traffic a lot. But I think having the capability to fight, but knowing when to use it, so having the wisdom not to, I find that to be far more masculine than just, dominating other people. Number 11. What's one lesson about being a man you wish you'd learned earlier in life? For me, this would be the fact that you're constantly building something in your mind, brick by brick, with every decision you make, every choice you do or don't do, every place you go, everyone you talk to. And you have to be deliberate in what you build. Because if you're not actively working towards goals, pushing yourself, and moving out of your comfort zone to build yourself a mental palace, you'll end up waking up one day realizing that brick by brick, through the things you said and did, you've built yourself a mental prison instead. And it's a lot harder to break down the walls of a prison than it is to build up the walls of a palace. Number 12. What's one piece of advice you'd give to younger men trying to figure it out? I like to think that if I could go back, say, 8 to 10 years and give myself one piece of advice, what I would do is I'd tell myself to focus on finding a purpose. It's more important to find a purpose and to work towards it, because when you're working towards your purpose, you'll have contentment, fulfillment, peace, and joy. But if you lack purpose, you'll distract yourself with pleasures. Purpose is what drives you, what keeps you moving and motivated. And when you follow the path of your purpose, it adds meaning to your life. Whereas if you just kind of float aimlessly, you'll wake up one day and it's been 2, 3, 5 years and you're living basically the same life, day in and day out. Nothing's really changed too majorly. Number 13. Do you think men today struggle with identity more than past generations? And if so, why? I would definitely believe that men today do struggle with their identity more than the past generations. And it's for a couple different reasons. The first being, we're not in a survival mode like our ancestors were. They had the Oregon Trail, they had the Spanish-American War, they had the Civil War, they had everything going from whooping cough, cholera, random snake bites, dysentery. Basically, it's a miracle any of them survived long enough to procreate. They were in a constant state of survival, so they didn't have leisure time to start thinking about who they are, what they were doing. Whereas we have a lot of free time, to the point where dishes, laundry, everything is automated. We can put it away, and then we have to fill that time with something, whether it be books, movies, TV shows, video games. So we have a lot of empty time that used to be spent pursuing, survival itself. That's one of the reasons I think men have lost their sense of identity. They no longer need to go out and kill a buffalo to feed the entire wagon caravan so that people will survive the winter. Now all they have to do is go and put 8 hours in at the job so they can get a few greenbacks to buy bread and feed themselves for the next upcoming week. Then a second reason that I think men struggle with their sense of identity is that as much as I love how individualistic America is, it has also robbed us of our sense of community. We used to live in much more tightly packed communal livings in these small towns where everyone knew each other, farmers helped each other out, you would take care of your neighbors. Now you could live next to someone for like 5 or 6 years in an apartment building or a house right across the street. You have no idea their first name. You don't know anything about them, and you don't even care. You're too busy just worrying about yourself than everyone else around you. We've become disconnected from a larger sense of purpose, which people used to find in community and church. Number 14. What do you hope masculinity looks like for the future? I think we should have masculinity go back to more classic, traditional forms. People have been disconnected from their purpose, disconnected from their community, and have no real mountains to climb or challenges. We were born too late to explore the world and too soon to explore the stars, but just in time to feel the squeeze of inflation and rent being jacked up. What I would like masculinity to be for the next generation would look something like this. The neighbors all know each other. Whether they're friends or not, that's on them. They're all working towards their common goals and their purpose, and there is an optimistic future, a sense of progress being made, and not this doom and gloom and nihilistic views that seem to be pervasive in the world today. But that's kind of my thought process on it. Let me know in the comments below what you think on this subject. I'll leave the list of questions in the description of the video, that way we're able to start like a little community discussion in the comments, and I'll try to respond to as many as possible. Big shout out to both of the creators who helped with this video series, Josh Waltz and Krish. They are phenomenal. Links for their channels will be in the description below. Check them out, see what they have to say. If you wanted to subscribe to them or to me as well, I don't think any of us would complain at all. But yes, thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what kind of videos you'd like to see in the future. But with that, the video's long enough, so I'll go ahead and catch you on the flip side.